it. So, what happened to the Trump visit to Fort Knox? Okay, the biggest question should be like, what happened to the Trump visit to Fort Knox? Uh, Trump, in his first presidency, he promised to be visiting the Fort Knox to likely to audit the gold that's in Fort Knox. Whereas to end all the speculation that was taking place about the Fort Knox theory of God being there or not there. However, it has been over for the last 4 months. We have never seen the Trump visit to the Fort Knox, and it's almost forgotten and feels like it's never happening. And here's the thing: we must understand why does everyone really want to see an audit for the Fort Knox, because Fort Knox was last audited. That was around 1953. That was the last time when Fort Knox was last audited. Secondly, there has been a lot of speculation, and this speculation has been having real numbers, because all the people who have been heading to the Fort Knox, who had the chance of getting to Fort Knox, have never had the chance of authenticating the God, looking at interior testing of the God, making the theory, let's say the speculation behind the God being known there to be high. To understand what we are talking about, we must understand why Trump really wanted to visit the Fort Knox, and who stopped him from visiting the Fort Knox. Did the deep state stop him? Was it the treasury that stopped him? What happened and what really went wrong? We must understand, 4 months back, when Trump had just sold for his second term, after the throwback of the 2021 to Joe Biden, Trump was seen trying to get into power after Biden lost to him in 2024 or 2025, we would say, this year. But we must understand why Fort Knox. Fort Knox holds almost one over, or let's say 147 million ounces of gold, almost half of gold that the U.S. the gold reserve is having today, or speculated to have, because it's all speculated, because something that has been last audited over the last 70 years is something different. It's something that you would say, or you would call something that's beyond man's understanding. So in simple terms, for any human being to live, either God is there or not there, there must be an audit. However, will the audit ever happen once again? Well, let's look at the history of the Fort Knox. The history of Fort Knox was this way. Fort Knox was last audited in 1953 under President Eisenhower. And after that, there was a kind of audit, but wasn't an audit. They allowed a number of few Congress members in 1974. They allowed a few members of Congress, or the Senate, I would say, to go visit Fort Knox. However, they never tested the gold. They never saw any kind of testing taking place. And secondly, it was speculated to say that the visit was highly controlled, was highly under mandatory control. Like, meaning this road more booming to the speculation stories of saying that Fort Knox is having fake gold because the Senate that who visited never tested it. This also applies to the Treasury Munich, okay? And also in 2017, when Trump wanted to visit the Fort Knox, the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin made up what I will call a show. He tried to visit the Fort Knox. When he visited the Fort Knox, he never did any testing. He actually never allowed any kind of testing. It came out after visiting. He took a few photos in the Fort Knox holding bag gold, and after he was like, "Yeah, the gold is there." See, without testing, without a real audit, I mean, today's modernity, human beings nobody will ever take a verification from someone to understand, like, to say, like, hey, and believe that the US is really having God. The other biggest speculation that came in before in the history, that was the 2013 German German refund, or I would say the German the paradox of taking back God to German, because German demanded its God in 2013, post World War II, because it had a gold reserve in the US. However, what made it to be more suspicious and more speculative was both in the US being transferred to German took over 5 years to be transferred back. Meaning, either they go, why this matters most of the time? Yes, God was paid back, but why this matters? In simple terms, God in the US to be transferred from the US to German, it took over 5 years, meaning from 2013 to 2017, US completed the gold transfer. Why did it take that long? This showed two or three things. Either the gold was sold, either the gold was leased, or it was never there. So it was just only had to be looked for. So, like, source from somewhere else. These are all speculations. But here's my biggest point. My biggest question is that what happened to the Trump visit? Was Trump stopped by the Treasury? Was Trump stopped by the what I would call the deep state? Was Trump stopped by maybe by the Feds to avoid him from creating uncertainties between markets? But to me, the way I see it, I would call it like it will be, in simple terms, how something I would be calling to be, let's say, let's take it at the look of China and US. China actually also hides its own gold. Like, it never come out to speak out the actual gold they really own. However, the US can say, hey, we have these numbers. Yes, sometimes it's better to follow the rules of your enemy or your co-partner that you're in the same race with. US showing off its audit would bring a lot of challenges. Let's say it will bring potholes into the trust in the US dollar as the US dollar. It will also bring in what I would call like panic between the fall of the dollar. Yes, the dollar today is just falling down as well. The DXY is heading down as it's going down. But in symptoms, something that I say as me as a person, I would say, like, today, the way it looks, it could be a security. How should I call it? It could be a security importance, or I will call like a factor that the government is taking place. Like, hey, we don't need people to be doing so and so and so, because the premises of the government should be always be kept a secret. Which, in my understanding, if you're a gold reserve currency, you have to show what you have. But my understanding, that's how I would take the take. But Trump failing to visit that Fort Knox, that's something that really leaves me bizarre, that I cannot defend it in any way or anyhow, because it has been over 2 times when Trump said that he want to visit the Fort Knox, and I just imagine going there and the God there isn't there. What happens? So in simple terms, what I'm trying to understand is, like, what's really Fort Knox trying to do, and what's really stopping everyone from visiting Fort Knox? What really happened to that what we're expecting to know that he is the God really there? We all have been waiting for years to understand, does Fort Knox really own the gold? Does the gold there really exist? And if it does, who does it belong to? Does it really belong to the US state, or has it been loaned? You get it? Here is came in, they were also in 2012 and between 2009 and 2012, it was found out that there was a kind of a speculation. The New York vote and the London vote were both found having Stan gold, like Stan gold as for gold. Stan gold is the kind of gold that can pass basic tests of being a real gold. Like, it can pass a test of the weight of gold, can pass basic tests, so it's easily being it can easily be manipulated. However, also stories came out saying that central banks used to lend their own gold, keeping stand gold to manipulate the market that they're still having their gold over there. However, they had lended it for at least for a profit. You get it? So when such characters were happening in central banks, it cannot be way further from Fort Knox happening, because today speculated that if gold is in Fort Knox, it cannot be known who's owning the gold. If gold is there in the Fort Knox, it could be owned by someone else personally, say shadow banks, sold to someone, leased to someone, but it may not be likely to be owned by the US government or to the US citizens, which still leaves us in other myth. However, there's also stories saying that the gold inside the US vault is owned by other countries, but isn't owned by the US today. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that you'll be talking about. You come up and say like Fort Knox really needs a good audit and to understand what belongs to who and who it does belong to. However, what seems like the US government is really hiding from, taking action to audit, that feels like still a myth. That still feels like a story for years to come, because even as of today, Trump isn't talking of God. Today, Trump is talking of talking tariffs over other countries, and that's my next video. If you like and subscribe, but that's all gonna be a myth until we see a real God audit come out. For now, all we can say, we pray one day, one time, we have our audit. Otherwise, the myth and the stories keep go on. Yeah. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.